Okay, welcome grognards to a really exciting game actually, which is I've sort of got the delight to be able to present this one actually as a preview. I'm not sure when it's coming out. It's just listed as coming soon. I would assume it's actually not that far away, maybe even into early access, but this is a really, really exciting game in terms of what it does do. And so we're going to go through that today. We've got about 2 hours to sort of play the game, actually look at the game, look at the depth of the game. There'll be a lot of questions, and I'll try to answer as many of those, even preemptively, by showing you different aspects so we can sort of get hints as to what's going to be coming. This is nowhere near finished. But it's been really quite interesting to sort of look and see just the quality of what's here right now, but also the overall approach. And look, just to really quickly sort of put it into perspective, it's essentially it's like you're the high level commander of an army group with, you've got divisions under your control, and really goes all the way down to like company level. So from divisions, battalions, regiments and companies, you sort of are really looking after all those different things, but you really are giving the high level orders and then relying on your on-ground commanders to then sort of push things forward, which is quite interesting, the way it does work. And so every day you give your orders, and every day the army will then try to do what it can do to sort of match your orders, which is, as I said before, really an interesting way of actually playing a game. It's a real-time game when the game is playing, but you're not really heavily involved in that process. When you're giving your orders, it's then paused at that point. So I think the best way for us to go through this is to really start a new campaign and just work our way through it. And if you've got any questions, please sing out. I'll do my best to actually answer them. I'm assuming I'm up and running. I've got the kilobits per second. Everything's green lights and recording. So I'm assuming we are live. All right, let's go into it. I do want to thank Slytherin as well for sponsoring this content, which is awesome. So thank you, Slytherin, for that. All right, we're going to go into a new campaign. So we'll just sort of start right at the very, very start. The way it works is you've got to choose, what your guy's going to actually look like. I'll use Monty. I'm pretty sure that's Monty. And we call him Monty. Why not? Monty, there we go. So that's going to be the name of our officer. That is Montgomery, isn't it? It's anyway. In that case, we better go British. And what the nationalities you actually have under your control, you can either play as the Germans, the British, or the Canadians. So they're the three different forces. It is all about the actual the invasion of France after D-Day. Hi, Stephen Shaken, saying I hear you loud and clear. Thank you. I did actually fix up my my audio the other day. So we'll go British. We need to have a name through here. So we'll what do we call them? I guess it was he had the 7th under his control. What should we call them? Desert Rats. Even though they're not in the actual desert in this time. So we've got Monty back, and we'll just pick a grouping through here. So we've got a whole lot of different insignia that we can then just go and choose from. I'm assuming at some point you'll be able to sort of mod your own bits and pieces in here as well. There's a Canadian one, for example. Let's just go with, is it Ajax on the back of Pegasus? I can't remember who actually, no, it's not, is it Ajax? I can't remember who actually rode Pegasus. Anyway, we'll just go with that one through there. And that's all we need to do, and then we can actually apply. If you don't actually put all these different graphics in, then you can't actually do this. So we'll just go and apply this one in through here. So Thornellan saying, hi Daz, really looking forward to see this game. This is awesome. I've really got to say, this is, I'm so impressed with this game. It's one of these things where there's a lot going on with it, where you don't realize the depth of it until you start to really just slow it right down and actually just look and see what's going on. It's brilliant the way it does actually work. Some things, like in this particular version, things aren't working. Like some things aren't working very well. For example, the army constructor is problematic at this point in time. I will show it, but I won't actually play with it as such because it's sort of the damage that it does is permanent for your current campaign. So how much have you played it so far? I've played about 4 or 5 hours. So I've had it for half a week, I guess, and I've been sort of just playing bits and pieces. We start off with a couple of tutorials, and then we start with the invasion of France. And what I wanted to do was not play too much of the invasion, so I just wanted to literally just skip past the tutorials, not play them, and just go straight into the actual combat, and then talk about what's going to happen through there. So use the map to select missions. First mission is in England. I've got to say the announcements and the information that is presented is good. Like it does ease you through. As I say, the only thing I've really sort of found that's been a bit of a problem has been this army constructor. Oh, I did have a memory leak as well when I was playing it at one point. If that happens, we'll just start again and just go from it. So Roy Keldron is saying it was Battleplan. Was it Battleplan that actually rode Pegasus? That doesn't ring a bell for me at all. I'll believe you. There we go. Thank you, Age of Mythology. There we are. So it's funny. I thought it was one of the more well-known heroes that actually rode Pegasus. I'm sure it was. Wasn't it the person who rescued Cassandra from the dragon? Anyway, I'll believe you. I think it was Cassandra. Anyway, officer recruited Samuel Hall. We end up with 3 officers, Harry Murphy, and I think these are just random, and Alfred. We'll talk about all this stuff when we get in there. New mission available, tutorial Operation Tiger. Now, we're not going to do this one. We're just going to go and click on it. This one sort of just goes through the basic things of how to execute orders, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. We're just going to skip that mission. Okay, announcement. Guards Armoured Division is available for recruitment. We also have the 2nd Tactical Air Force is available for recruitment as well. New mission available, tutorial Operation Tiger 2, which is back over through here. And so this is another tutorial mission. 7th Armoured Division is recruited. So we've actually got that one now recruited. And these are, of course, all British forces. We'll just go back into here. We'll skip this one as well. This one, we talk about entrenched enemies, encircling orders, bypassing enemies, capturing enemy supply hubs and depots, and starving enemies out. So sort of like, besieging them, essentially. These are good. They're worth doing, but we're not going to do them in this particular one. We're going to try to apply that as we go. And you can see there at this stage, we've got the 50th Infantry along with the 7th Armoured, which is the Desert Rats. There we go. There's our Desert Rats insignia there. Maybe it was actually part of the insignia that was available. The 3rd Canadian Division is now available for recruitment as well. At this point, there we go, and the 3rd Infantry is available as well, and the 59th. And so we're now invading Cherbourg. So new mission available, Battle of Cherbourg. And so this is like the D-Day, after D-Day landings, essentially. We're into the actual mission itself. And so the game is more high level than, say, D-Day itself. Like D-Day was sort of, I guess, more tactical, just trying to get like a bit of a beachhead. This is after the beachhead, where we're trying to then sort of go further into into what we're doing. So Storm was saying, oh, nice catching the stream on time for once. That's cool. It's pretty early for me, actually. So, but we'll, we'll see how we go. Oh, Perseus. Yeah, it's Perseus. It is Perseus. So thanks, Roy, and saying I just remember the hero Battleplan rode Pegasus in Age of Mythology. Yeah, no, it was Perseus. Perseus, I'm pretty sure, rescued. I think it was Cassandra was who he rescued. Anyway, we've got Fs for these two because we skipped over them. I can keep on skipping missions as well, by the way, to sort of go in. I think that there's 10 missions available in the game at this stage in France to then go and play out, and you do get scored on how well you perform with your attack. One of the things, it's not historical in the sense that the units that you are using, if I had have chosen the American forces, I would have exactly the same mission to perform. I'm going to have the British forces, which I think it was the Americans that did this push. I think the British were more extending back out this way beyond Cherbourg, but in this case we'll be playing as the British. Hi, Supreme Plague. Oh, yep. No, that's good. I thought I saw you on the other channel there, but that's all good. So let's keep on going through. And if there's anything you want to see, please sing out. But we'll just get into it, and then we'll have a bit of a look. In fact, what I might do, I think I can still do things from in here. So this is the mission briefing. You'll need to recruit more units. So click Army Management below to recruit. And so this is actually where we've only got the two, the 50th and the 7th. So we'll now talk about the Army setups and the way it actually does work. And then we'll come back to the actual briefing itself. So if I go and click on this Army Constructor, this is actually also where you can do damage in here, I've got to say. So I'm not going to be, I'm going to talk about how this works, but I'm not going to actually do the deed. So we've sort of got like, so in this case, we actually have our different divisions. I've got to use that one. I think, there we go. Got scroll wheel to zoom, WASD to move around. So I can sort of move around in through here. Again, the information is actually, it does present things in through this other side. We've got the different forces we can then go and recruit. Specific little forces, I think, ultimately. This will actually be to change the order of battle. You can see that we start off with 3 different officers at the top. I'll just start at the start and just go and take our way through. So if I go and click on this guy through here, you can see that this is Monty as well, I think. So it just happens to be, I can change the photo if I wanted to. He's a two-star general in this particular one. And he is a yes man. And so his abilities are going to be initially that he does less damage but extra speed. So he moves quickly but doesn't do as much damage as he should. These are often got, and there's another yes man as well, so same sort of deal. Actually, they're all yes men. The other ones that I've tested, they were all different. We just happened to get unlucky there. Anyway, we do have other officers we can recruit, so let's just go and recruit a few more of these. So, are they all yes men? No, this one here is different. This one's aggressive. So this one does plus 20% damage, but minus 10% defense. I'm going to recruit him for armored forces. He'll be ideal. So he now joins our group. So we've now got Daniel Brooks. This one here is stubborn. In this case, we're going to have less speed but more damage. We've got this one is reckless, so less defense but more speed. Again, I might recruit him as well. Just go back to the officers, and who else have we got? Another yes man. We've got a few yes men. We've got a lot of them actually in this one. We've got timid. And so in this case, we've got low morale, which means we're going to run faster and plus 10 defense. So I don't really want him involved in anything. And then relentless. So in this case, we've got speed but less defense. And I think I'll recruit him as well. So we've now got ourselves 6 different officers that can be then applied to the actual groups themselves. So if I have a look, for example, this is the 50th Infantry Division, and then we've got the various companies back and through here, like headquarter companies, and so these are the headquarters of the various battalions, and so we've got then the different battalions, and then inside the battalions, we've then got sort of like the actual individual units themselves. These are going to be, in fact, we can't sort of see that there, but I can actually go and what you should be able to do in here, doesn't actually work at this stage, is you should be able to grab these and rearrange who is in control of what. But it doesn't actually work at this stage, so that will be coming at some point. But you can see through, for example, here, this is a headquarters company at this point in time. It's then got the 3 infantry battalions, and then it's got an anti-tank company. It's got a, and then go to the next one across in through here. And again, it'll be 3 with anti-tank, 3 with anti-tank, and then we actually have some dedicated groups in through this other side as well. Engineers, which will actually allow you to dig in and also then lay minefields, which is pretty cool. Artillery battalion, back in through this other side as well, and a scout company. And so we have different ways of doing it. These little pips down through here are the individual units that end up being on the map, as my understanding as to how that one does work. So you'd have one headquarters in through here, for example, which will then be in control of the various infantry battalions, of which case there'll be 3 of each of these on the actual map itself. It's quite nicely presented, I've got to say, the actual game itself. So we've got these 2 divisions. So this is our army, essentially, is what we're looking at through here. Let's go back to recruitment, because we do actually have these other ones as well. Now, at the moment, we've got 1 infantry division, and we have an armoured division. So we do actually have the 7th, the Desert Rats. And so in this case, the Desert Rats, we've got the headquarters companies back into this other side. We then actually have tank battalion with 3 tanks in each of these. They're not sort of like like they're not the different types of tanks, I guess. Like they don't go into that sort of level of detail. They are just tank battalions, but it sort of is still modelled in the game, as you'll see when we get into it. So we've got the different tank battalions in through there. We actually have a mechanised engineer battalion, a self-propelled artillery battalion, so this can sort of then move around, a scout company, and a anti-air gun as well. So we do actually have an anti-air company in through that particular group. So this is sort of how we do our armoured breakthroughs and sort of and move forward. And the infantry is more for sort of mopping up or for taking territory that's not really has to be fought over all that well. They're good at defending. So let's go back to recruitment. We're going to need probably another. We can go and grab. We've got the Guards Armoured Division back through here, which is actually a again going to be more tank battalions. So let's just go and grab another one of those, and we'll just go back to recruit. So we've recruited that one now into the mix. We'll go back in. We're still in recruitment. No, we're not. I do want to get the second Tactical Air Force, which will actually then have aircraft. We've got a heavy bomber battalion back in through there. So we've got bombers back in through this other side. So we'll recruit them as well. That's now done. Back to recruitment. The infantry, I might as well just grab everything, I think. Just recruit the infantry, done. Recruitment, 3rd Infantry, recruit, done. And then finally the 3rd Canadian. So I'll just recruit all of these as well. Done. Now, when we go into combat, we're going to have only a handful of these that we're going to actually have access to. We have to think about how we're going to then go and do these. So we've now got our army sort of set up the way that we want. Yes Man does have the speed, but just does less damage. This Relentless is still 40 speed, but less defense. We want the speed. So I'm going to put. We did have another one who was. Where was he? Aggressive. 20% damage. I think we'll start off giving the 7th to this particular commander. So let's go and drag him into that group. So he's now in control of that force, that armoured force. The other armoured force that we had, actually both of them are here. So we'll go back to the other one, which was the Relentless, which will be the plus 40% speed in this case. So he'll be, they'll be faster at moving around. Do I want to do that? Reckless. Yeah, I'll get Reckless. All right, in you go. So they're in command of those two. Back in through here, the Yes Men. What do they actually have? Less damage, but more speed. Yeah, it's not really ideal. Relentless is less defense, but more speed. I'm thinking that the damage for in case of speed is probably not bad for the infantry, just because that's what we want. I can also then have somebody that's going to help in here, but I don't really. I want damage. I want high damage for these guys. So Relentless. Yeah, it's not. I won't bother putting a commander in charge there, and we'll just go and throw these into these other mixes in here. I don't think we've got anyone else in the officers' pool that is going to be worth it. Cautious, extra defense but less speed. Timid, we don't want that. This is a Yes Man, yeah, stubborn. Less speed but more damage. I might recruit him actually and put him in with the aircraft so he can actually be in charge. The aircraft move fast anyway, so that will be fine. So we've now got commanders in charge of each of our divisions. So we've now sort of got like the full contingent back in through here. So the army constructor, I haven't sort of shown or played much with these, but ultimately you're going to be able to construct your own setup, your own order of battle, and you sort of can do that anyway. But you can more break things than add things, if that makes sense. So I don't want to be doing that. I'm just going to keep them as the divisions. But you could, for example, split things off if you decided that you wanted to just keep this particular group operating. Actually, let's just do it with. No, I won't show it because I can't get it back together again. There may be a way, but I just don't know how to do it. Hi, Began and Tenru, how you guys going? Winkback is saying nice, yes, and mines are not cool, they are nasty. It's a sci-fi snob. went back and saying it seems that the fabled Road to Moscow in the 90s captured the imagination of these developers, with the player marking arrows of advance and lines of defence on the map. It's very, very cool. Very cool the way it does work. And I haven't played other games. And I know that Hearts of Iron was mentioned, as Hearts of Iron 4 was mentioned, with sort of like a similar sort of tactical plan, but I don't think to this depth. I think this is really, really in depth. Anyway, you'll see that in just a second when we get out of here. So the capture of the deep water port of Cherbourg will allow vital supplies to arrive for Allied forces. Your mission is to secure the Khotan Peninsula and capture the city. Paratroopers have secured the southern area of the peninsula and linked up with troops from the Utah Beach landing. With the bulk of the German forces defending Caen, we have taken an opportunity to clear out all Axis forces in the region. There are a few little typos, not very many, but there are a few of them. You can see all of the different groups that we now have in through here. Tips. Armour divisions are fast-moving and strong on the offensive. Use them to break through enemy front lines and make an opening for your infantry to follow through. Use the encircle command to surround Cherbourg and prepare for a final assault. Historically, Germany tried to form a defensive line, but was quickly overrun. They held for a while in the coastal bunkers, but eventually surrendered. So we need to have deployed units. We have like a number of points we can then go and allocate. And you can see down through here, the armoured divisions cost 195, the infantry divisions 119. And so we actually end up with, we can't put two of these into the reinforcements. If left empty, you play with historically accurate units. So it's in this case, we're replacing the historical units. So we'll go and do that. The 624, now we've got a decision to make. We definitely want to have at least, I'll put the 50th in there, the 50th infantry. This is a little bit broken. I can't then find where it is. So it sort of hides things. Again, it's got too few units in through here, 119. Definitely going to be wanting to have the 7th Armoured as well. So you can now start to sort of see them appearing in the list. But this is, we're up to 314. Now, if I double that, I'm going to end up with, what have I got left? I wish I would tell you actually what's left as much as what's coming, because if I go with 119, this is where I could go back into the army constructor and sort of get rid of different units to make things fit in nicely. I think I'm just going to go and grab the Guards Armoured Division back in through there. So we'll pop that one in there, which then chews up most of that there, which really just leaves infantry divisions in here. That's 433. The Tactical Air Force, I can use this one to bomb different areas. Now, if I do 119 again, will that will still work? No, I don't have enough. So if I went in with the, in fact, the 3rd Canadian Division is a armoured unit as well. So the 3rd Infantry, if let's just say I want it to fit in here and actually have like a grouping for it. What do I need? I need to get it under 100, really. So I need to take a few points out of this one through here. So I could go back into my Army Constructor and go to the 3rd Infantry Division and start to, if I just go back to your Army, 3rd Infantry, I can then start to pull things apart to sort of see if it will then work. Look, for the sake of the exercise, let's just go and do it. Let's go and get rid of the anti-air gun, the anti-air. So we'll just go and ditch that one. That's now been separated. And you can see it's now got the anti-air company has now been split out from the others. And we can see there the numbers haven't really changed. Let's just go and get rid of the scout company as well. If I just go and grab it. I can't reconnect. This is the trouble. I can sort of, it wants to then connect those, and if I do that, now that one's accidentally connected. This is actually where it starts to screw up a little bit. I'll see what happens there if we just go and come back out. I've now got, I've got to go and put them all back in again. Okay, well that one goes in, that one goes in. We then put in the Air Force. We then put in one of these, I think. And then we had the Guards Armoured Division was down this way, which is pretty much full. Yeah, the third's still full there, but I can split off more of these. Like I can use this headquarters here, for example, and just throw that one in just to start to sort of get some of some of the points up there. So let's just go and do that for now. So this is how you can sort of split things up, where I'm just using a company rather than a division. Let's just go and start the mission. So that's a bit broken, that aspect of it, from what I can sort of see. Battle of Cherbourg, again, we've already read the briefing. I'll just go continue. If I go and click just to the side of this feedback area, it then turns it off, which is nice. And so this is the actual map itself. So we'll just go through, and again, I'm just going to take this slowly and just show you. It's more to just to show you what the game does and how it does work. So tutorial, so the Germans have formed a defensive line guarding Cherbourg, break through and capture the city. I'm just going to click on done. And so initially we start off pause. It's 5:45 a.m. We've got 18 days with 18 hours. I'm not sure what the 18 hours is remaining. So 18 days and 18 hours. So we've got, we can auto place the different units, but I'll actually go through how this all works. And then when we're ready, we can start the mission. Now the game already sort of starts sort of with them auto applied. But let's have a look at the interface and just work our way through. If I press the options menu, I did want to show this because I think that a lot of you will be interested in what this one is sort of almost promising for the future. Big one being multiplayer at the back end. I think that there was people already asking me about this yesterday. So I think that this is, we can sort of see there that there is actually going to be multiplayer available in the game. And it'll be the same sort of thing, I think, where you give your orders, there'll probably be a timer for that, for your different units, and then it'll just play out in whatever speed you guys decide to actually do. Gameplay wise, we've got some interesting little things. The icons, I'm going to use the 3D. They certainly are nice and clean, but you do actually have NATO colours and NATO looking things there as well. Planning mode, you either have the full planning, which we're going to be playing with, but you also have a simple mode as well if you're finding that a little bit too complicated. You do have your camera angles, your camera pan speed. You've got things, for example, like these are sort of like extra stuff that can actually happen. Now you end up with these officer status reports, which are pretty cool. It's actually your officers talk back to you and tell you what's going on, like what you what you need to, like what problems they've got, and so they just sort of do it randomly, which is actually quite nice. It's done very, very well. Houses, trees, etc. appear. Fast forward at night time is on by default, but you can also then have disable videos. I'll leave them on because they're really quite good. And then the casualty pop-up, so small skull icon appears on a map when a casualty is suffered. Let's go and turn that one on. Then we've got other things in through there, different controls. There's not very many controls that you need to sort of make use of. The page up and page down I haven't tested yet. I'll see what that does. Graphics and audio. So, but the fact that it's got multiplayer, I think, is actually going to be exciting for some of you. I would imagine. Hi, Muzzle Paint. How are you going? So, Seraph Paint is saying, "Hello, Daz. I prefer typos over AI gibberish." Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a good point. Actually, that's a really good point. So we're here at the start. What we have is the various forces under our command. So we've got like different groups that we can then sort of go and make use of. And you can see when I go and click on it or hover over any of these, they've got they've been given basic orders at the start, but I can just go to an auto place. And if I go and click on them, if I start to zoom in, actually maybe I'll just talk a little bit about the way that the map is presented. You've sort of got like at high zoom in, you may not want to have the clouds. So you can go and turn those sorts of things off. There we go. Clouds seen at high zoom. You can actually just turn them off, just so you don't have to deal with them. Because they're not really going to. They're not going to add much to the actual game itself. You've got other different map modes as well. So you've got, for example, this is the elevation mode, and what we'll see through here is that we're going to have hills that we have to contend with through here, low hills. So around Cherbourg, it's going to become quite difficult once we sort of get out of the plain. So we actually have plains in through this other side. We also have all this wetlands in through here as well. So we have to break out of the wetlands and up into Cherbourg itself. The next one is the terrain view itself. This one just allows you to hover over it and sort of see what you're actually dealing with, like towns, roads, things like that. So there's it's just basic terrain. It doesn't talk about, I wish it would show the heights. That would be pretty cool if it did that. The next one across is just owned territory, as to we're starting in the south and moving up to the north. In this case, supply view. as to we do actually have supply, and we can see down through here we've got different supply areas in through this other side, the supply depots. So we've got 4 supply depots. We've got 4 of 4 back in through this other side, and so that's just showing where the supply is and where the supply is running to as well. So the units will then sort of be pushed out to then supply the different groups, like that's the 7th Armour, for example, which is sitting back in through here. And so the others are sort of just going off to then be supplied from their headquarters. And then finally we have an intel view, areas we can see. And so this is actually just shows the stuff that we don't get to have access to. So you've got these different map modes, which are fairly cool. I'll just go back to the default view for now. If we start to zoom in on the actual groups themselves, what we'll find is we've then got like this very specific little like the 3D models essentially, which is what we saw there before. And if we go and click on these, you can see there's a couple on the beach and through this other side. I don't know what that little shopping bag is. If I go and click on them though, it will then show me what's going on. So these are German infantry. So they've got sort of things like the second company of the 352nd Infantry Division. These are actually then will show you all of the stats about this specific little unit, and these are quite important to be aware of as to what you're actually up against. So they've got the number of troops in that particular little group. The morale is 100%. They're fully supplied at 10 supplies. The firepower modifier is 30%. So they haven't dug in at all. So they're just sort of basically standing out in the open. They've got the back and through here. This is the movement speed. So they move on foot. In this case, they're not armored. They're just troops. This is the elevation, so they've actually got like this is elevation above sea level. Looks like a negative number though. I don't know why. There's the beach is the bag. I wonder why it's got a bag for the beach. Sorry, when you hover over them, it actually then reactivates. And so the beach, and then we've got the actual what type of unit it is. And so this is just a regular unit with default stats. If we have a look at our units as an example, we also then have the same sort of thing. We're also on the beach in this case. We'll find a few other little things about them. They're on the beach. These are got the Yes Man is in control of this particular unit. So this is actually the British infantry. And then we've got this one is green. So poor morale, lower damage, and defense and speed. So these are, if these two fight these two here, we're going to lose that. So we end up with like very specific information about the actual units themselves. So we have to be careful of these sorts of all the way through. These are all probably going to be regular forces, and we can just glance down to sort of see what they end up being. Like in that case, we can see the little all of ours will have this negative in through here, which will be green. The others up through here will all be pretty much not veteran, but sort of close to veteran. There'll be other little things, for example, like this infantry here. I can have a look to see that it's actually in a forest, but it's also in wetland. Firepower modifier 102%. I'm guessing because of the forest. That may sort of work. Defense is only 10%, so they haven't dug in at all. They can dig in, so the more that they're left alone, the more that they will dig in, but that's not going to matter that much. And again, they're going to be fully supplied. So you can sort of have a really good look through. In fact, that's saying it's in a town. This one here is the one. So these ones are all in wetland and through this other side, which should make them a bit more susceptible. These are in forest. We've got our guys in forest as well. So we've actually sort of got like some of our forces that have moved up in around these ones. In fact, when we have a look at this one here, that's the actual group that we actually have in that particular instance. Actually, one thing I should have mentioned was I did have options in here where I could have actually put in 2 armor to actually do the breakthrough. The armor is much, much better at attacking than the infantry. So we're going to have a lot of infantry, and we may need to rethink about how we actually go and do that with the actual placement of the units. So we do get to fully control these at the very, very start. So we actually have, this is the 50th Infantry Division back over through here. Then got the 7th Armoured. Then we've got the 2nd Tactical Air Force, which is down here. I can rebase them if I wanted to. We've then got ourselves the 59th Infantry Division, which is holding the top of the line. I probably don't need this many troops to actually hold the whole line. So I can go and try to change it, and then we've just got that one little group, that little headquarters that we split off, which is where, in the middle here. So these are sort of like a bit of just a group that sort of has been added in. So we don't really need to do that with those. With the different groups, other little things on the map, I might as well just go through as much detail here as I possibly can. You do actually have these little interesting snippets showing photographs of the actual areas, which is actually quite nice. It doesn't have any real bearing on the game at all. It's just that you can sort of see, okay, that road, that's what it looked like. So it does give you a nice context as to the way it sort of does work. Let's just try the page up and page down. Yes, we can sort of get like different loadout of the different layout of the actual map itself from a different sort of angle. Don't know whether might just leave it back sort of where it was. Right, so let's just go and auto place the units and just let the AI have a crack at it first. So if I just go and do that, they'll then just reposition. Looks like they've sort of stayed where they were to a large degree. Yeah, they hardly moved at all. We've got to think about how we're going to be attacking. So we're going to be wanting to take anything that sort of we want to cut things off. So for example, I could break through here to this particular town, which is what's that? Barneville-sur-Mer. We could actually take that as an example of potentially a line of attack for our forces to break straight across there and take that chunk out, and then starve these units and to capture all of those. We've only got the one armor, so we really just have to think about how we're going to do our breakthroughs. Similarly, we actually have probably an easier breakthrough up into here and then across this way to actually then cut off all of these forces. So we could even sort of come up through here, which is all nice and open, and so this actually would work in fairly well. There's the picture of the town there. So we could actually go and take that town to start with and then move across. Let's go and do that. So I'm going to go and grab my my armor division, which is located all the way down here at this stage, and I'm going to assemble it ready for the breakthrough in here. So let's just go and do that one now. The way that you give your orders is either press space or click on this one through here. And when we're in deployment mode, I can just tell it what to do. In this case, I'm just going to go and assemble the units, and I'm going to assemble them right here. Bang, they're just automatically there. So that's where they're going to be. Now the supply that they're coming from, I don't know if I can actually change the supply. If I can, I will. So we've got this supply here. That's still the 7th Armoured. I don't know how I can actually get rid of or change that. I don't know what the body text does. That got rid of it. That's good. We can actually now go and add another supply depot, and I'm going to put a supply depot in here somewhere. So I'm just going to go across, place supply depot, and I'm going to place it in the town here. Done. And so that should now give supply back to hopefully this unit here. So at least we've got now that supply closer to the front. It's Tenra saying, has it more depth than Shadow Empire? It's actually different to Shadow Empire. This is Shadow Empire is much more of a traditional war game. This is a real-time game. Now we also have another. If we go back to the supply, sorry, that's Intel. This is supply view. If you do have another one way down here, I'm probably better off actually moving that up to this town. So I'll actually go and grab that one, get rid of it, and just place the supply here. And we might rebase. I think we can just rebase the Air Force as well. So we just go Tactical Air Force, Orders, rebase. I think I can just position it any old place. Did that work? It didn't seem to work. Well, maybe it did. Not sure where we can actually rebase those two. The headquarters went there. Just see if we can see any airfields. Yeah, it's mainly just towns. Maybe we'll just go and just try it and place it on a town. No, I'll just leave it where that is. Anyway, that should be okay. How much tinkering is there with logistics, cities, and other management? Not much at all, really. It really is a tactical game, ultimately. So let's go, and we've got our forces in through here. We've got the different infantry groups. I probably want to put one of my infantry groups in as a reserve. So let's go and grab the. Let's keep the. This force is sort of like going all the way across the front here. I can bring that one even further out. If I go and give it orders, I've then got like a complex defense. I've got to hold the line. So hold a perimeter line. I can actually tell it where to hold it for. So these are all the different orders I can give it. And again, these are the little videos that sort of show you how to do things, which is fairly cool. Let's give that an order to hold the whole line. So we'll go with the. So with this particular group, I'll just go and do hold line, and I can then just draw the line from here all the way across to about there. That will then spread out those units. It didn't quite marry up. Let's just do that again. Hold the line. I'll just zoom back a bit so I can actually then do it a bit more properly. Did that do it? Hang on. Hold line. Don't want to keep that little bit of forest. So we're going to be spread out through that area, and I do want to be holding what I've got back in there as well with that town. We'll go back to the other smaller group, and we'll get it to also hold the line. Just across this last little bit. So we can just sit there and just be the edge of the actual map itself. And we're going to then put the other force back down into reserve. So I'm just going to go and tell it to be a reserve force. I can go assemble. So units assemble at location. Then it dispatches reinforcements to nearby. Actually, no, we don't want that. What we'll do is we'll just go and assemble, and we'll just go and place them just in behind this one in through here. So that way we end up with a minimal force holding the line, which could be a problem. In fact, what we might do is we might even change the, we might rebase these guys and just move them up towards the actual, to where we're dropping things off. Yeah, let's go and position them over here. Rebase into here. I think that they'll fly across there. I don't think we have to worry about airfields as such. I think the scale is sort of big enough. All right, so we've done our auto place, or we've done our placement of the units. Now we've got the 40th. Where's that? That's nothing. That's okay. Right, so we've got everything now ready to go. We've got a pretty stretched line, but and they may counterattack, in which case we could end up in trouble. Let's go and start the mission. So the way it then starts is the actual game loop itself is that every morning you get to give your orders to your forces. Now I'm not going to give orders to the 50th Infantry. They can just sort of do what they do. So they're just going to hold the line, essentially. I can give them specific orders to hold the line, but if I don't do anything, that's essentially what they're going to be able to do. This is actually, see how it's got fresh and able? This is the commanders of the different groups, giving you little snippets of reports coming back in. Yeah, we're at full strength, let's keep it that way. So they're all sort of getting ready to do different things. We're going to start with the armor, and we're going to break through. But before we do the breakthrough, let's just soften up the front line. So we've got a few different areas in through here that we need to soften up. And what we'll try to do is spread out around this area once we get the breakthrough. So we're going to start with the orders for them. The first order, now you can see this is much more complex that we actually have. So we're now in the actual planning phase for what we're doing. We could do this before when we were defensive, but we now want to go into the attack. We can do things, for example, like complex defense or complex attack. This is where the AI will just do it for you, and you can just tell it what you want to do. I think it's better to do it yourself, to be honest. I think you can do a little bit more. But you can see down through here, we've got things like seize ground, breakthrough attacks, which is what we want to do ultimately. But before we do the breakthrough attack, we definitely want to be, essentially pushing our way through. So we need to find a few different things. Let's start with an artillery barrage against the units we're going to be attacking. So we just draw an order through here. I'm going to be attacking along this road. So I'm just going to do the artillery barrage for these units. So that will be the first thing. So that's going to be 3 hours of barrage. And what we want to do is also then add in another sub-order to this one as well. So I'm just going to go and grab this one, and I'm going to go and scout as well. And so we're just going to go and scout also the same sort of deal back in through here as well. We're just going to send out different units to sort of see if we can find out any information about the units. That's the first things that are going to take 3 hours to then go and do. So we're going to be sort of like mid-morning before we then head off. At that point, we're going to then smash our way through with the armor. So let's now go and add another order. And the one we're going to do is a breakthrough attack. And so in this case, we just literally draw the line of attack. And so the line of attack is going to be straight up along the road. So we're just going to go and do a breakthrough attack straight through to this town. And once we get to the town, we then go, so that'll be the breakthrough. And then we're going to fan out and try to cut off the supply going into the different units. So that's the first one. And then we're going to do a seize ground at this stage. So we're going to then seize the ground from probably here through to over here. So let's just go and do that. So just go and grab that little area. So that's now essentially the orders now for our armored group. So it's really, really quite nice and simple, like the way that it sort of does work. And we then just have to say, yep, that's your order, execute. And away you go. And so that's now been designated for those guys. That's now their order. What we would now want to do with this group is this is the 59th Infantry Division. We want it to wait and then follow up and try to sort of then capitalize on the breakthrough. So we just go into its orders. Now I should be able to wait. Where do I do it? In reserve. Wait until date or time. Wait until a specified time. So let's actually, or wait until a signal. So wait until the user clicks execute. Let's go and do that. So we'll actually wait for the signal, and so the first thing we're going to be doing is doing that one, and then we're going to move up along the road. By that stage, hopefully the breakthrough has actually occurred. So I've got different orders I can then go and do. I could use assemble to actually get them just to move along the road. I don't need to be doing these sorts of breakthrough attacks. So I'm going to actually do assemble once they break through to here. So I'm going to move along that road, maybe halfway along. So we'll just go and tell them that that's the second phase is going to be to assemble. And then the next phase, the final phase, is going to then be another seized ground area where we then just sort of copy maybe a little bit more about what they actually had, and we'll just sort of extend out across this little area and through here. In fact, we need to go back down here a little bit as well. Let's just do that. That way we can try to keep getting the supplies actually going. That's all I really need to do at this stage. Everyone else can sort of just do what they're going to do. We don't need to be doing anything else, and just need to execute that order. So all of the different groups have now been given, well, the ones that are critical will now do it. We're just going to finish planning. It now goes into actual active mode, and you can see down through here the different groups are now attacking with artillery. I can sort of pause this to sort of see what's going on. So we're softening them up. One thing I didn't do, actually I should show you this as well. There's a few little things that will happen where the aircraft are now flying across, so they're rebasing across close to the front line. They have got, there's a few different other orders we can give it. So this is the doctrines are things we can do during the battle. So this is actually just automatic things. So the doctrines are turned off, counterattacks are turned on by default, combat patrols will also be turned on by default, fortify when idle, and then I've got close air support automatically. I'm going to turn that on, which means that the aircraft will then start to do they'll start to do bombing runs against the units that are being attacked. So that will then aid what we're doing, and that's all I'll do with doctrines. In terms of the actual fight, nothing much will happen until we get sort of started in through here, and so we're just really just softening up as much as we possibly can. And again, we don't give orders to specific units. I can order specific units around if I'm wanting to, but I don't need to. So let's just keep on watching. Does it have air and water units? It has air units, but not water units. Mr. Worth. So Daz Board Games says Daz Board Games for the T5 Cat. Sort of, yes. Saw some aircraft a few moments ago. He was looking at airfields for them. Yeah, we don't need the airfields. I'm pretty sure they're just on their way across to the front line. They will then automatically start bombing because of what we've actually got going. Let's just see. There's nothing. Actually, there's other fights going on in here as well. So these guys are automatically attacking on the beach. We're not really worried. They've got to build up a forces here. So we are sort of defending along this line. And they could break through there. One thing I can do, if I end up in trouble, let's just say that there's a problem somewhere on the front line where things just aren't going to work well, I can stop and do an emergency planning session once per day. So I can just do that once per day. So they're still actually sort of just operating. These guys are still softening up the front lines. And if we have a bit of a look, we'll start to see that their firepower modifier is dropping a lot. So that's coming down. Hover over these. These are green troops as well, by the way. So that's actually a good one for us to have gone through. You can see we've been isolated there. That little group we've sort of lost control of this road. I don't know why. But these groups are isolated. We'll just wait for the breakthrough to occur. I can just speed up time. So we are pushing through here, and then the breakthrough will happen soon with the armor. So the armor is now just waiting. Yeah, this is why things broke off there. If we can catch them in there. Now I'll just pause that again. So tutorial, if you make a mistake, you need to react more quickly. You can trigger an emergency planning phase once per day by clicking the button in the top right. So we can go and do that one up there. We're just going to click on done. That's what I was just talking about. And so these guys here, we actually have like a force in the wetlands down this other side underneath the Tactical Air Force, which is starting to lose morale. So we've got a few units that have actually lost morale. What we want to do is have none of our units actually being isolated. Let's have a bit more of a look and see what else there is going on here. These have pushed back a little bit from the front line. We've got other forces. This is like a scout group that is actually now is also lost morale. So the morale is now to 9% there. So they're trying to sort of see what's going on across the front. I can use my aircraft to also do scouting for me, but in this case I think the armor is just going to be fine to break through. It's now 3 hours, a little bit over 3 hours, and our armor should now be able to push through. So we'll push up along this road, and we do need to give the order at some point, wait for signal. So I'm not sure how I give the signal for that one. This is actually what's happening with the actual casualties that's actually happening in through these other sides. So we're actually losing more than what we're winning, and this is the one that stretched all the way across the front. Looks like they're actually having a little bit of a hard time, I'm guessing, back over here. But let's just see how we go. We want to do this breakthrough. Let's just let it go forward. See, now we're smashing our way through. The goal is to smash our way past the enemy, and they've got artillery firing from back in here. We've hit a headquarters. All right, time to move these other units up. If we go back into that particular group, wait for signal. I'm assuming I just pause or resume order there. Yep, there we go. Go, guys, go. So they're going to now start to move forward. Yeah, we'll just let them go from that point. they'll now move off and move forward up along that road. So we're now going to try to seize ground. And you can see that there's enemy units are now sort of taking damage. These guys are still just holding this line. They've been stretched really quite a long way. More aircraft bombing different units in through there. Now it's only 1 p.m. and we have an opportunity here to take this pocket. We're sort of going to do it anyway, I think. These are starting to sort of lose morale. We need to make sure that we control this road. Why aren't they moving? Let's go and... I'm not sure how to do this, actually. This is one thing I haven't actually tried to activate. I can't execute the plan. I thought there'd be a another road there. Play button on the order. Yeah, I've done it. Actually, I did have it there before. Play, pause, or resume. See, it's paused there. It's playing there. Maybe I'll just delete it. There we go. It's now got the assemble order. That'll be okay. Let's just go. So I think it was just to delete that order. It was. So let's just try that one now. Yeah, here they go. They're going to move up along that road. And we've now captured this area. And once we take this road, this one should then be isolated. This is us that's been isolated here a little bit. They're still trying to attack this area, and we're just using an assemble command, which is not great for attacking. But we should end up with a big enough force in there. Taking some losses, but we're still combat effective. Now that hasn't coloured that one there. Let's just go straight to seize ground now. Just see if we can actually sort of maintain this area here. These have now been isolated. When they see the orange, it means that they can no longer get supplies in, which means we can start to starve them out. We're going to get that road there. Our aircraft are still zipping around, shooting up the units that we're attacking. This is the Battle of Cherbourg. There's been various other attacks going in. Let's have a look over this other side. Just holding the line there. So it's now night time, or it's close to night time, and we didn't quite get the bridgehead there. I'm hoping that it will close up. Oh, no, they've still got control of it. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Yeah, they've got control, unfortunately. So, night falls in through here now. It's now going to go fast through the night. Let's just pause for a second and have a bit of a look. So, our group has been isolated. We've cut off from supplies. So, this actually didn't work all that well. I didn't control the breakthrough. And so, what's actually happened here is that they've still got supplies coming into their area, but they've cut us off in here. And this is going to be fairly catastrophic. I can't give orders when they're asleep, but when we have a look at it, then the supplies are still 9 supplies in there. If we have a look at the tanks, they're down to 5, so it's a little bit more of a problem. Let's just keep on going forward and just seeing how we're going. It is showing that the supplies are trying to get through here now. We need to establish these roads. So controlling the roads is really, really important when you do get the breakthrough, and we haven't controlled it. We've been isolated in little pockets. Like that one there is that one's still fully supplied. That one's still fully supplied, so that one's actually okay. Back down here, we've still got the front line that we're holding, which is fine. The enemy's also asleep at this point in time. Let's just go fast until the morning. There we go. Sun rises, and we'll just pause now. It should give us. It should tell us And I'll just wait for it to go to the next day, which is about now, I thought. You know, I got in the middle of it. So I can actually, I'll just pause that again. I can give new orders. This is actually, you can see we've now been cut off from supplies in here. And we need to do things with our forces. So let's just go back in. I should be able to give the new orders. I'm not sure why not. Well, it normally comes up automatically. It's like it's still got the same orders. I'm just going to go to an emergency planning phase. And we're going to push these guys down across this road. So we're going to go and give them a seize order. Actually, I'm just going to turn that one off. Give them a new seize order command. To take it from here all the way through to there. So we'll tell them to attack down that way. And the armor, which is out of, like sort of getting out of supply, we'll give them a new order to seize ground in here. So unfortunately, we've got like an area where we've got bits and pieces cut off. So we'll just go and do that one. I didn't approve those orders. I've got to approve them each day. Let's just finish the planning and then just let them sort of go forward now with their new attacks. I don't know why we didn't get the actual planning phase for the day in this instance. This is the actual is the casualties. The left-hand side is our casualties, which is not good. So we're not doing very well. Hi Aaron, how you going? So no more elemental. Now, this is a sponsored stream. This is sort of like rare that I can sort of show games this early in development. I'm not sure when the game's actually coming out. We're now starting to actually get the ground. This is a very, very cool. Here we go. They've actually got forces coming up to try to defend the breakthrough. We just need to consolidate what we've got here. So if we can sort of just stretch across these roads, that's going to be good. So the encounter statistics, we are losing this. So we're not doing very well here. Situation report. So these guys are automatically now attacking through this zone along the road. And if we can just cut them off a bit more effectively, they could, for all we know, have supply in there. I don't think they do. That's been cut off in there. Yeah, we're just not capturing this territory. Yeah, we're sort of struggling with all of this. Oh, we're now winning. It's just giving us a bit of a breakdown. We've actually lost a lot of troops. Other things to look at on the screen is that what else? This is the total tonnage of supply. This is actually the number of replacement troops that arrive each night, but we've lost more than what we had. Interesting that hasn't actually changed to orange. This pocket in here has been isolated. So we sort of do have that one getting under our control. I'll see what, I won't pause it this time during night time. We'll just let it go and do its own thing for a little while. Yeah, so I can no longer give emergency orders for today. I'm not sure why I could do that one. Other things, as part of the debug, you can reveal to see where all the actual enemy are, which we could do just as a matter of interest. These guys are going to be out of supply, so their supplies are going to dwindle away. They're not dwindled away yet, but they will overnight, I think. Still fully supplied. A lot of troops in here. headquarters in there. Again, we're just not creating that gap. We do over here now. Alright, what do we got here? So we've got a battle happening over there and a battle happening over here. We can sort of see the casualties. Now we're sort of doing fairly well here now. So they've now captured the roads there. So the infantry has now done a good job there. This has now been isolated. And out of supply. These guys are still out of supply. We just can't get through that road. This is now going to be bad for our units. It's now night has now fallen. And our supplies are down to 0.3. So our tanks have now essentially run dry. And so we've screwed up here. And so we're not doing very well here at all. I feel like I should maybe start again. Now here we go. We're now in the next morning planning phase, daily report. So this is actually Thursday the 8th. Since our last report, we've suffered 1,034 casualties, 212 friendly troops surrendered, 2,020 estimated enemy casualties. We've gained 13 kilometres overall. The extra tonnage was sort of then given. I'll just go and click on done. The other thing we end up having is these different stats. So we can sort of see how things are sort of going. So the currency supplies per unit. You can see there the 7th Armoured has not been supplied all that well. So they're sort of out of supply. And so that's a bit of a problem. If we go back into here, this is the troop statistics. Current troops by type. So we've got like a lot more infantry than tanks. So we just have a small amount of tanks. And then we've got the casualties back into here as well. Tanks we've actually suffered a lot of damage with. Casualties 1,000, surrendered 212. Casualties per units. The 59th Infantry is actually the one that we actually marched along the road. Has actually now ended up doing most of the fighting. The 50th Infantry is losing a little bit. They're the ones holding the line. So we could be thinking, okay, look, this has not worked out as well as we would have hoped. Current supplies held. Yeah, we've got that one through there. There's a lot of information in the actual game itself. This is not a good start for us, but we have sort of isolated this pocket. Here's a group down in through here, group of engineers. Their supplies are still high at 8, so they're actually still doing fairly well. I can't use these now because they're pretty much completely out of supply. So we have a bit of a problem. What are these guys doing? They're on the road. They're green, so they're just green troops down through that other side as well. Their supplies are still high. So we just, like, they've been able to sort of break past us all the time, which is a problem, which is a big problem. So we need to, now with it paused again, we do need to start to sort of go back into the next planning phase. But I think that we're doing pretty poorly with this particular one. So maybe we'll start again and just see if we can do better from a different perspective. Unless you guys want me to sort of continue on doing what we're actually doing here. It's sort of one of these things where I screwed up my initial breakthrough and I didn't follow up effectively with the infantry. And we're sort of close, but we're just not quite there. So Storm, I'm saying this seems like my kind of game. Yeah, it's a really interesting game. Like just the way it sort of does work. And there's so many different ways to approach it. We do have to make sure that we maintain supply. That's really critical all the way through. So the supplies are a major thing. Actually, where's our Air Force now? Is the Air Force is now completely rebased up to here. Looks like we're not seeing any real troops down the bottom here anymore. So we could even push up with the infantry. That's where people were dug in at some point. They've now sort of moved off. There's casualties there. So they've suffered casualties. Their armoured cars are giving up. Casualties back in through here in the wetlands. So we've been causing a lot of damage. So we're sort of heading in the right direction, but But we've now lost 2 days just to do this breakthrough, and we still haven't achieved it because the this armour division hasn't been able to capitalise on that. So what I can do is, if I go and grab, well, this is the one that's actually suffered a lot of the casualties, this infantry group, I could try to get it to isolate this little area. So I could give it orders, for example, to do an encirclement. It's a fairly large encirclement though, but I could actually encircle all of those and just try to control those. If I give it an encircle order, it will then try to starve them out. And I might do the same with these as well. So let's go to the, this is the other small group that we actually had. Let's give them an encircle order. Let's go that way. The armour division is really struggling because of lack of supply. So we can sort of leave that one alone, and I'll just leave the others alone as well. In terms of the aircraft, they'll automatically go and bombard other units. I can give them specific orders though to go and do close air support. Let's go and do the close air support here and across to here. Let's just go and do that. Actually, one thing I didn't do was to give the to approve the orders, to make sure they got. I have to click on that. I don't know if it actually, if the game it tells you haven't actually approved the orders, but let's just go and finish the planning and just let it sort of run forward. So they're now going off and doing the specific bombing runs that we had told them to go and do. So they're going to now sort of push those in. The 7th Armoured is still trying to sort of get that break happening through there. Just not in control of this. These are now moving in to do the encirclement, and they'll move around to close that one off. And hopefully these guys will also then move in to take this area through here. They're starting to give up in through here as well. Here we go. But we still haven't got control of this, not technically. This is now closing up. This is now broken through. And these guys are just still trying to seize the ground. Their supplies are practically gone, so their firepower is very, very low. There we go. That's better. That's better. So we've now done the seize ground, so we can now delete that order. We just now have to wait for the supplies to catch up, and there may still be units in here. It looks like there still is. We've got to try to get these surrounded. We haven't broken through on the coast there yet. That's good. We've now finished off all of that. So we now actually have the this force is now sort of sitting back waiting. We are being pushed along here a little bit with units coming into the tree line. We're digging in. This is actually interesting as well. As we sort of if we don't move, our forces will actually start to dig in and fortify themselves. So you can sort of see that they're slowly doing that themselves anyway. There's a lot that goes on in this game. These guys have struggled a little bit. They're not giving up. Their morale has dropped. So their morale is down to 30%. So we've still got our units just hovering around. They've still got units out this way as well. Yeah, they're doing probing attacks. Is that one of theirs or one of ours? I think it's one of theirs. Oh no, that's one of ours. One of our scouts is doing some damage in through here. So we have now broken through this area, and we're now trying to isolate this group. And there's a lot of troops here. We just have to cross this area through here. The trouble we have is like we're now towards the end of the day, so I'll just let that one sort of go through. We've got enemies destroyed. Yeah, there was enemies in through here. So they're giving up. They've got nothing else going on. They've still got supplies, but they will give up. Actually, yeah, their morale is 1%. So that will give up now. It's now getting towards dusk. We still haven't been able to close this off properly. See how the Air Force, because we gave that doctrine to just attack willy-nilly, they're just going off and doing wherever they think that they're needed, which is actually pretty cool. We have some of our scouts a bit further out now, seeing what's going on. We should be able to isolate these to stop them from breaking through. Here we go, here we go, here we go. We're starting to now get this encirclement. I might just get them to hold the line through here rather than encircle. That's as good as anything. Just wait for the next day. It's a full-blown battle. There we go. Night falls, and we now have supply. So supply will now go into our troops. So when we have a look at these tanks, their supplies are slowly filling up. Yep, so they've still got low supply, but they should end up with a bit more. This troops trying to sort of work their way out of this pocket. Whoa, that's the deaths, I think. That's the casualty report. This is showing where different units died. So since your last report, we had 500 casualties, so we did a bit better this time. As opposed to 757 enemy casualties. We've got 10,000 supplies of tons of supply in the field. That's actually good. Sun's arrived. We've got reinforcements have arrived as well, and then the game has been saved automatically. We have an auto save. That's not really going to be a big battle at this stage. This one in through here is actually where we need to keep on pushing. Let's just see what our supply level is like. These are only 2.4. These are still really, really badly supplied. We're better off. That's the supply going back to the 7th Armoured is coming from here and is then going up to supply the 7th Armoured up that way. We only have the 4 supply areas. Do I need them all down here? I've got a few down this way. If we just go back to our supplies here, we've got 1 supply there. And that's not really supplying anything. All the supply is being handled from this one here. We have a supply all the way. Actually, what the hell is this? Oh, this is the... we've actually been reinforced. Okay, that makes sense. This is the new tank group, which has now come into the map. Not sure when that arrived. Anyway, that's being supplied from there. So what we need to do here is actually move them up now along the road. So what we're going to do is assemble them for another breakout. Let's finish off with these guys, which are struggling. Their morale is really that's anti-air. Let's just go back to the tanks. Morale is good. Firepower is actually still fairly effective. Let's just break through into here, and we'll assemble the next lot of tanks to try to cut through here, I think. So we'll go back to the to this group, give them an order to assemble all the way up to here, and we'll then just allow them. They'll get there fairly early in the day, and we'll then just get them to cut through and maybe even just seize ground up through here, just on the edge of the hills. So I'll give them an order. Actually, I might give them a scouting order to just scout this area through here to start with. So that's going to be where they're going to be scouting, and then they're going to spend 3 hours doing that one, and then we'll do a seize ground after that one. If I do a complex attack, that's sort of like it would be interesting to show that. Actually, what I might do is I might just cancel those. Let's do a complex attack. Actually, sorry, I do want to still do the assemble at that point, and then we'll do a complex. Actually, probably would still. Actually, I think it'll even still do it. Let's just go and I'll show you how this one works. These are quite cool. If I go and do that, Yeah, so they're going to, what they're doing is they're automatically, so it gives them all these different things. They're going to assemble here. This is what they think that they're going to be doing. They've then given themselves 3 different breakthroughs, 3 different breakthrough attacks across this different line. They're waiting for a date, so they've got a specific time in mind. They're going to do their own scouting as well in that period. They're going to have some in reserve. Let's just allow that one to go and just see what actually does happen here. The 7th, we'll actually now try to take this area through here. So we'll just go back in and give them a seize ground order. Just in that area, that'll do. We had the troops within circle. I'm just going to actually change that to a hold the line, and we're going to hold the line from there around to there. So we won't be doing an encirclement there, but essentially it will still be the same as an encirclement. The troops there, I'll just leave them doing their own thing. And we're not going to worry about the others in through here as well. So we've still got these the infantry, the 59th infantry, which can now be used again. But how are they going? Their morale is actually okay. Their fighting power looks pretty good. Yeah, that's actually not too bad. Let's get them also moving up to start to assemble, ready for another assault across this other line. So we'll just go and tell them to assemble in here, where so much of the carnage has actually taken place, and then we'll at that point we'll then just do a seize ground as well, or yeah, I'll do a seize ground. To try to sort of push out a little bit. Okay, that's done. Just make doubly sure that we've got all of these designated. Yeah, we need to tell them, yes, go ahead and do that. We're still holding the line with this group. Now I no longer need to hold the line all the way back to here, so I'm just going to now change their order as well, and just do hold the line from here to there. That'll do. All right. So we'll shorten that line, which will then sort of give them a bit more strength. These ones should be cut off. Let's finish the planning and just watch the next day. So they're going to be trying to smash their way through to the coast. So each group is now just going off and doing its own thing. So these are now moving up along the road to this assemble point. You might watch this breakthrough. These are still trying to break through in here. Got units out of supply. These are all the 7th Armoured. We're struggling here because of the lack of supply. It's actually been quite difficult. These guys are getting ready to push off. You can see the damage done on the ground. So we still have these little units just holding that line, holding them in that pocket. It's only 10 a.m. Here we go. These now are now doing their they're now doing their scouting. So they're just doing probes to see what's out there. And these guys are doing their breakout attack to try to seize the ground. We're a few hundred down in terms of firepower for the combat-ready troops. These guys are pretty good. What about this group in through here? The tanks. Yeah, we've lost a lot of tanks with the 7th Armoured. So it's been a bit tricky. These guys are still just waiting for the date. Still got a long way to go, actually. What I think we'll do is, I think we'll just do the breakout attack now. So let's just go and ditch those. They're in reserve, which means that they're sort of supporting other attacks. Screw it, let's do their breakout attack. So now sort of going to try to break out, going along these roads to establish that one. We're still trying to hit the coast, but they're defending the coastline to get to allow the supplies through. These guys have smashed their way across very quickly, but they're not controlling the territory. They may be isolated as well if we don't get this one under control. A lot going on here now. Different battles taking place. Got Battle of Montborg up there. Battle of Nihau back over this other side. Unit surrendered again. So we're losing a lot of forces here. If I go and click on those, we can sort of see we're down to 71 tanks now. This is not good. So we've really been decimated there with those guys. And we're being pushed back. So we're struggling in that pocket. We're doing fairly well through here. But the whole seas ground thing, we're actually losing in here. Now there was it's nightfall, so I'll let it go to the next morning, and we'll then just talk a little bit about what I can really see. There's a few questions there, so I'll answer those questions. But I'll just wait for the next morning to come, which will be about 5 a.m. It's still at very early days with this game. There we go. So it's now the next day. Daily report. Now we actually did a lot of damage to the enemy this time. So we've got those done through there. We'll just go and click on done. Now a few of the questions. Let's have a read through. Yeah, so Storm was saying breakout was successful, but it seems that enemy counterattack took control of the supply route. It's not an easy game. Like it's actually not easy at all. It's actually very, very cool the way it does work. Yeah, so Fireman's saying breakthrough went good, but he had no units protecting his supply lines. Absolutely. That's the trouble. You can see we've got units cut off from supply again as well. So we do actually have issues with this. We have now isolated this area back in through here. This has now been cut off, but the 7th is basically a defunct force. Like they're really, really weak now. And where do we get to? Yeah, Storm was saying this seems like my kind of game, and Valasar saying, "Oh, this looks interesting." Looks like Hearts of Iron 4, but at a more detailed level. Yeah, it's sort of I haven't played Hearts of Iron 4 for such a long time. And I know that they had sort of like a tactical planner, but I think it was more just to allow their forces to keep separate from each other. I think, from what I can remember, this one seems very, very much more hands-on in terms of very specific things that the forces need to go and do, and each individual little company or little brigade almost just needs to they're quite autonomous the way it does actually work. And Fireman saying, don't think you clicked on the confirm order button. Yeah, I may have missed one or two, but I think I still had them all doing stuff that they were supposed to do, I think. So Valasar saying, can you not do anything during the day? This is where it's really, really interesting. This game, you are a high-level command. You are not on the ground. You have one emergency planning session per day if you want it, where you can then go and maybe get a unit to retreat. For example, we're really struggling in here. This is not good what's happened here, so we're going to have to try to figure out what to do. The 7th is really struggling. And so this is something that I could have actually stopped them when they were in the attacks and then decided to bring them out. But I've kept them in the fight there for way too long. And I shouldn't have done that. Excuse me. The trouble was we ran out of supply on day 1. And then we've been pushing it ever since. So that's not good. So we do get one emergency planning operation. It's funny, like it's sort of when I started playing this game, I've got a really old book here, which is a book that I picked up I don't know how many years ago, but it's actually the memoirs of Montgomery, and it actually shows all his actual orders that he gave, and so that it's the same sort of level of what he was doing. He was telling his specific units what he wanted them to achieve. It's very similar to that, where and it reminds me so much of this book, where you are giving the instructions as to what they're going to try to achieve, and then it's up to the individual commanders, the individual soldiers, to try to execute those orders. It's really cool the way it works with this. It's sort of I can't think of another game that does it like this one, to be honest. This is really a very unique game, but it really reminds me so much of that book, and the reason I love that book so much is that Montgomery's orders to his troops was so succinct. It's just such a great book. It's well and truly out of print now, but it was just his memoirs. But it actually had all the orders that he ever gave to the daily orders that he gave to his different armies as to what he wanted them to do. Just brilliant, actually, the way that he did that. And it's very similar to this, where you actually are telling them specifically what you want them to try to achieve, which is really cool. As I say, I'm blown away by, I guess, the way that the game actually works, and even but it looks good as well. It's actually a good looking game, and it's sort of unusual to find a game that's not actually at release. I mean, it must be close to release, I'm guessing, because it really does look great. And you do have such a lot of information, from this sort of company level, with the actual troops that you actually have there, to sort of see exactly what's going on. And I haven't really had a real lot of time to go into a hell of a lot of depth about the different units, but if I go and click on an actual unit, I get all of the information down here, so I can really start to pick and choose to see what's going on with them. We've got a heavy we've got an infantry battalion there, which was selected. If we go and click on these different ones, defense-wise, they're not defending very well. What's this one through here? This is tanks. From this particular group, they're way back over here for some reason. Not sure why. Their firepower is quite low. So there's different things that are happening with them. These are this is like armored forces. They're on the road. Low on supply. There we go. Reduced morale, damage, and speed. So we'll probably see that for all of our troops that are up here as well. What are we going to see through here? Low on supply. Aggressive. This is actually the commander. Green, poor morale, lower damage. So again, we've just got troubles in here. We just cannot break through this area because we just got such low supply. So we're in big troubles there. So with the 7th Armoured, which has really struggled, the best thing I can do there is to actually get rid of that order, go and tell it to go, and in this case, we're going to tell it to go back and assemble and maybe put it back into reserve or something like that. So let's get it back away from this group, back into this area. So let's just move it away from the front line, and at that point we then just say, okay, you're now in reserve, and just sort of give some support. Let's just go and make that where they're going to be reserved. We're pulling back away from this particular line, so we'd need to do something different there. So let's just now execute that order. So they're struggling. We still have the troops holding on down through here. I'm going to have to try to use the other armour to push through here, I think. I'll use the other armor. This armored force is still doing fairly well, so let's just give it an order to do a we can encircle. Yeah, I might encircle this area here. That will sort of keep that road open. So we'll just give that an order there. They'll then sort of spread out. Now we also have the infantry here, which has again struggled a fair amount. They're still actually okay looking at the actual troops that they actually have. So, and these here, we were going to just keep on trying. We've got siege ground there. I might take it even further. It's a bit dangerous to do this. Let's go and I'll just stop it from holding the line. Is that the right one? No, it's the wrong one. This is the one I want. So this is assemble that, and then it's got siege ground. Let's just go and ditch all of those. That's execute plan there, actually. Just go back across to what should we do? I'll just do another siege ground area through here. I'll just try to get them to cut off this forest. Yeah, that's the execution, so that's going to be fine there as well. Let's just see how we go today with this one, and we'll just try to figure out what's going on. The other group is still trying to hold this line, which is probably not going to be able to do. Just finish the planning, and off she goes. I can speed it right up as well, the actual game itself. Battleplan Command Ops 2 is kind of like this, but much worse graphics and more detailed combat. Yeah, I find this is quite a nice sort of sweet spot in terms of what it actually does do. It's actually it is really quite cool. Now they've got artillery backing through here, so they're going to our guys will suffer here a little bit, and we're trying to break through here now as well. So we're fighting into Valognes. We're sort of pushing our way through the town. We captured a supply depot. Cool. So this one is now, we now have 5 of 4. This is big. Capturing a supply depot means that we can start to use that supply, and now all of these guys are now cut off. All of these guys are cut off, even though we've moved away from the location, because that was their supply depot. So we've actually done that's been great actually to do that one. I've still got the fight going on this way. Now, if we can roll this one up, hopefully the 7th will then will get more and more supply, and hopefully they'll be then fighting fit again for us to then go and use somewhere in the fight. We sort of pushed them too far. These guys are struggling in here. This is going to be difficult for them. And our aircraft are now just bombarding away. Captured supply depot over here as well. There we go. Cool. So we've actually now got this one as well. So that's a second one that we've now got 6. This is awesome. That's going to then really put the pressure on these guys in this pocket as well. Now let's just say I'm thinking, okay, look, now I now want to make sure that I hold this, and we probably now want to change, because we've sort of this group was coming into seize ground further down, and similarly back up in here. Now I can do my emergency planning session, because I can do one of these per day, and just go and tell the group. So this particular group, which is here, has got seize ground. I'm going to delete that order, and I'm just going to tell it to go and seize more ground out here, because these ones should be fairly easy to isolate these. So in fact, what I might do is just do a hold the line through here, because we now have that supply depot. So I'll just do hold line, and we'll just do it from here all the way across through that supply and across to the beach there. So we'll hold that line. That one should, because that supply depot, that should then isolate all of those. And then we should be able to have those sort of encircled. Let's go and have and we do want to execute that order. And they'll then end up defending that line. The other group that we had is still trying to encircle this one. So they're actually, it's working. We can see by the colours there that that's actually sort of working fairly well. This one here is going to have to get more supply. So we're down to a small number of tanks. Supplies are coming up, which is good. Let's just leave it there for now, and just and then we'll try to blast back up through here again once we've actually had these replenished. That's all looking fairly good. I think we'll just finish our planning there actually. And hopefully these guys will now be able to consolidate across that line. These haven't been isolated yet. There we go. We just saw a commander. Yep. So that's one of their generals. There we go. We'll split that one. We've been isolated there ourselves. It's now getting towards dusk, but we should be able to then get this one where we're sort of fighting these guys in through here. And again, they've opened up this pocket. Oh, I should have actually gone and done more there. We do actually have control of that. These are still isolated. We do actually have some forces around the place. If we have a bit of a look, their supplies are still good. Yeah, they're good as well. So we're being attacked from afar. Breaking through there, hopefully. Yeah, this is now all isolated. So once we've got this established, we'll then be able to cut off anything that they're doing through here. And we've got a lot of troops along this line, which is good. We haven't isolated this though yet. Night will fall very soon. Yeah, night falls, and we're going to be getting more supplies. Yeah, we're not quite. They're trying to break out through here, so they're breaking their way out past the group, but we do actually they've got the supply back. I didn't secure that. All right, next day. So we suffered 300 casualties. We did actually inflict 900, so that's actually not too bad. And these guys unfortunately did break back out again. And so they've taken that supply depot yet again. We've still got this one. We've now been isolated here. There's a heap of troops now attacking in through here. So so that's now going to be a bit of a problem. So we're going to be trying to defend in through that side. This group in through here is still, it's got a few more tanks, but still not great. So supply-wise though, how are we going with supplies? The troops are way down. Tons of supplies remaining. We've still got a fair bit of... Okay, the supplies look like they've come back up. Yeah, supplies are now back up again for these guys. And we've now sort of lost control of this one as well. Okay, so Valasar is saying, is this a demo we can play or only something streamers get? I think it's only a couple of us, I think, have got it at the moment. Like it's saying, and it's sort of like this is a special presentation just to sort of show what it is. So Slytherin have actually asked me to do this one, which I'm very happy to do, of course, because this game really, really looks very, very cool. So with the next day, what do we do with these guys? What we can do is we can actually start to try to do an actual attack again. Maybe we'll do another breakthrough to the coast and see how we go. So we'll just go and tell them that they're no longer in reserve, and we'll just do a assemble up to here, and so they're going to go along the road to assemble to that point, and then we'll go and do another breakthrough. Across to here. Yep, that'll do. And at that point they'll be there, so we then want to go and tell them to seize the ground. I think in here. I may be making these too big for them, so give them that order. The other force that we have through here is back over here as well. Now we had encircle there. I'm going to try to change that one as well. If I just go back to get rid of the can we get rid of the encircle? Just do another seize ground up through here as well. And these guys, they may need more support. Did we? We're not targeting this. Let's not do that. Let's go and target that. Hang on. Seize ground. Let's do that. Hopefully that will then sort of give us what we need. And we still actually have the small group that was holding the line here. Yep, so hold left click and drag to draw a line. Yeah, that's okay. Oh, yeah, I didn't realize you could do this. You can actually go down and actually have how deep you want your defense to be. I'm happy with just one in this case. I don't know why I've still got the encircle there. Just leave that one where that is. And actually, I'll get rid of that. That looks better. And these guys in here now, we've got the other force, which we haven't really used yet. They've just been in a defensive location, but they're now in a prime position to move on up. So let's go and get them to also just seize all the ground in here. So we'll just start to attack, because we do want to sort of consolidate this line. So we'll just tell them to come through and do a seize ground. There we are. And that hopefully will then just roll all those up. Okay, let's finish off the planning. I think everyone has now got what they needed. We'll just go through each one of them. Just make sure that we've clicked on those. Yep, that's all good. We'll finish off the planning. And off we go for the next day. So the orders have now been given. So these will then start to now move in to attack this different group. They've attacked hard in here, like the enemy. Now we do sort of have this isolated again. So the armour is now moving up through here. Captured supply depot yet again. Different attacks going on. It's now been isolated into there. We should just keep on putting pressure in through here. Ultimately, I think we'll be able to hold this line. Now we're capturing enemies in through here now, which is good. We still haven't been able to block that one off. That will give up, I think. We have a lot of forces there. So we've now captured this whole central area. And we are now pushing our way up. Now I can do different sorts of attacks. I could have done more artillery strikes to soften them up beforehand. Sort of was hoping that they'd be out of supply, but they're not. They've been able to keep their supplies going the whole time. Now we're getting close to Cherbourg. I'm not going to be able to break through there. I'm running out of time. We've got about 10 minutes to go. Okay, so what are we up to with the comments? I'll just have a quick read while we're sort of going through the afternoon attacks. Okay, so Vanessa saying, I'm glad they recognise you sell their games. Almost every sort of game I purchase is because I saw you play it first. I love their games, I got to say. They're so many of my favourite games come from Slytherin, like, you know, Gal Civ, Gladius, Relics of War, Distant Worlds, yeah, just heaps of them. Shadow Empires. It's got some great lgames. Absolutely love them. So Xavier saying, thank you for this discovery. This game looks really promising. It does, doesn't it? It looks. I wasn't expecting it to be anywhere near this polished for sort of like a you know, for being able to sort of show it. Usually these are quite buggy when I get them like this. But this game really does have a lot. Actually, we've almost got that one. We've almost broken through. That road seems to be open still. They're keeping this road open while we try to sort of force the others in through here, which is interesting. We've done all the stuff in through there. But the battles happening down through here, they should start to give up. We should have the advantage in this side. See, the outcome is uncertain through here as well. When we're sort of looking at different things, we're losing as much as we're winning. So we're just trying to capture all this territory. It's a very, very cool game. But also saying Gladius is my addiction. There we go. So I'm so happy Comet Mission is in their hands. Yeah, look, they do a great job. They do a great job. Actually, when I finish this, I'll be raiding into their channel. They're doing an interview with the developer of Sea Power, which is not one of their games, by the way. They do interviews on a weekly basis. I think it's every week, where they actually get like different developers of different games to then actually sort of here we go. We've now isolated this area, which is great. So we now actually have this one where they're going to be under our control. We still haven't broken through to the coast here yet. How are these guys going? Okay, next planning phase. You know what I might do is I might just do a rush through to Cherbourg. Actually, one thing we could even have a look at is, yeah, we've actually really smashing the enemy here. Let's go back to this group because they're in a good position. Let's do a breakthrough attack into Cherbourg and see if we can actually take Cherbourg here. But we're now going to be attacking into the mountains. This is going to be hard. So let's just give it a crack. We'll do an assemble on this road. So we'll assemble to that point, and then we'll do a breakthrough here. So break. Actually, what we might do is do an artillery barrage there for 3 hours. We'll send some scouts in as well. So we can just sort of do a sub order for that one, and do the scouting at the same time. See what we can find out, and at that point we'll then go and do the breakthrough along the road into Cherbourg, and we'll then just try to hold Cherbourg at that point. So I'll keep them consolidated there, and we'll use the other Infantry, oh, they're way down here. I'm just going to have to do it. I'll let it go because we've only got a few more minutes to go. So let's finish off the planning there. I'll just execute that particular command. And we'll just watch what actually happens. I've still got this one as well. They're still trying to seize the ground here. Let's change this order to... so we'll just go and ditch those. Delete that one. Delete order. There's a lot you can do with this. It's really is good. Okay, we'll delete those, and we'll just do a assemble again. And then we'll do another breakthrough again. Along the coast. So there, we're just going on a bit of a run. That'll do us. Double check that that one was allocated, which it was. Let's just end up finishing the planning there. So they'll now assemble, as will the other guys as well. So they'll just get their remaining tanks. So our aircraft are still attacking where they can. This is where we expect that there's going to be a bit more trouble because, there we go, we've got minefields now. We've got troops that are now dug in. Well, they are moving back from the artillery barrage. Yeah, there's heaps. Look at this. This is now all completely dug in. So this is going to be a very, very difficult fight through here. This is one where we would actually change and use our emergency planning, but let's just let it go through. Yeah, captured supply depot. Is that another one? Yeah, it is. Got even another one there. That's awesome. Wow, look at that. There's heaps of them. Here they come. They're going to be smashed on these minefields. On this breakthrough. You should see the numbers of their armour go down, I would imagine, fairly dramatically. You can see there the morale is really, really kicking in now. This is where you would do your emergency planning session, but let's just let it go forward and just see what actually happens here. We've been bogged down now. We haven't been able to break through these hills. It's a very, very cool game. Snuffy's then saying it seems to be more a granular system than Hearts of Iron. Was playing with me in a lot of ways. Does it have Division Designer? Or yes, it does. I showed that at the start of the session. If you sort of go back and have a look at the start, we sort of started there. That's not quite working properly yet, but it's you can sort of see what it's going to do ultimately when it's all finished, and now, sorry guys, I missed a lot of comments here from YouTube. I mean, the borders are as bad as the first version of these games. I don't mind them. Like it's pretty. It's not static. You don't really know what's going on. Yeah, this is completely broken down. This is actually where we would now tell the guys, hey, stop attacking. You're destroying yourselves. So we've lost like 50 or 60 tanks in that particular attack. Now there is actually another thing I can show you here. Sorry guys, I'll just pause it because you can, let's just say that I've got a very specific thing that I need to do. This is actually this is actually pretty cool. If I think, okay, look, I really need this unit to end up over here. Like, let's just say I grab that unit there. I'm pretty sure I can go Control and then right click and tell it that this is where I want it to go to. I think that's how it works. Is it Control or left click? It's one of these, I think. Or is it Alt? I know that there's a way to do it, but I forget how to do it. Shift right click, Alt right click. thought it was control right click. I may be wrong. I think it's like a debug type menu. Oh, there we go. Manual move. So I can now just tell it to go off and I do it on the actual unit itself. And that's not one of mine. I can't do that one. Or is it one of mine? No, it's not. Oh, I can do it with anything. Okay, in that case, it's sort of funny. So if I go control right click there, manual move, I can then tell it to move down into that line. So I can go on a unit by unit basis if I wanted to as well. So there's an awful lot to like about what this game is doing. These have been completely cut off with that little sojourn back in around the top of the map there. But it's really, really cool game. I'm thinking it's like it's not something a type of game that I've played before. You know, like it's very, very unique. We've still got 12 days to go in this one, and we're doing pretty good. You know, like it's I've screwed up because I've actually thrown so many of my forces away. But see, there's no one sort of done that DasTactic to grab my attention. So Art Bossman is saying, looks interesting. I could see myself playing it on a slower speed. Kind of plays like Hearts of Iron or Supreme Ruler without the economy and political depth, which is okay with me. Yeah, it's very much a tactical game. It's funny you say that, actually. I've been playing it on this medium speed. I tend to, when I've been just playing with it, I've been playing it on just this normal speed. This one through here. You also then have like a slow speed, but I find that the normal speed is really quite nice because you can actually see everything that's going on, but I just don't have time to show everything and play it on that speed today. So I wanted to sort of at least get to sort of show the potential drama. Like you can see down through here, the minefields that have been laid through here are very, very extensive. Actually, what we might do at the end here is just do a reveal and just see what else there is. Oh, we've seen most things. There's another headquarters back over through there. What else they got? There's not much else up the top there. This is actually, we're just now revealing the whole map. There's another supply. Yep, so there's a few tons there of supply. If I had have gone up through that way, I wouldn't have had much at all that I would have had in my way. Another supply point there as well, I think. Yep, it's running out of supply though, that one. The supply point there. Anyway, cool game. What we might do, guys, is I'll end off the YouTube stream now, but then we'll just do we'll do a raid back into, if you're watching on Twitch, we'll raid into the Slytherin channel. So I'll say goodbye to you guys on YouTube. So farewell. I hope you enjoyed that little presentation. You can wishlist the game, I believe, on Steam. I'm not sure when it's coming out, hopefully soon.